Hi guys and welcome to the Volkswagen ID4. Now this is the brand new electric vehicle from Volkswagen, one of the biggest car makers around, so it better be good. Biggest question I want to answer in this video is this car something you'd want to own, something you want to buy? Because there's lots to love, but there's also lots to hate, and trust me, there are things that will drive you absolutely crazy about it, but in other ways it's a perfect car to commute. What do we have here? It is a 77 kilowatt hour version, which has a roughly 200 horsepower, 150 kilowatts, and it is the first edition, of course, which is spec'd out to the max. It has absolutely every option you can think of, and it's around 58,000 euros, so probably a bit too much for a car like this. Inside the ID4, and let's take it for a drive, shall we? First impressions, it is extremely quiet, very nice to drive, and rather well built, to be honest. First thing we should talk about is the styling, I think. It doesn't really look like a regular electric car, and that's a good thing, but it doesn't at the same time look at all interesting. It's just a car, and to be honest, I think the Skoda Enyaq looks better, because, well, it's not pretending even to be anything different than a regular crossover. This, on the other hand, it thinks it should have some electric cues, but on the other hand, well, I don't want to be too, out there. I just want to be a cool electric car, and it ended up somewhere in the middle, and I don't really like how this car looks. I think the Enyaq looks a lot better, and the proportions, well, it's almost like a Honda CR-V or a RAV4. At least it's trying to compete with these cars. It's rather roomy, and the panoramic sunroof helps quite a lot for the airiness of the cabin, but the Enyaq is bigger. This first edition is riding on 21-inch alloys, and it's one size too big to be, good in my mind. It's too obnoxious. It doesn't need to be a, rapper's SUV to be cool. 20-inch or even 19-inch, perfectly fine for a car like this. You don't need 21 inches. Does it look good? Well, yes, sort of, but 20-inch is more than enough, and don't spend the extra cash on 21-inch rims. Quick acceleration here to 70 kilometers an hour. It is rather nippy. The fuck did you just do? Okay. If you get the pop standard version of the 77 kilowatt hour battery with rear wheel drive, the cheapest version will cost you 48,000 euros, and it won't even have full LED headlights. And really the one you want is a step or two above that, so expect to pay around 55,000 euros for a well-spec'd ID4. I wouldn't go for the highest spec'd version like this. 58,000 euros is a bit too much for a car like this, and I stand by my ground. A crossover, even if it's fully electric, shouldn't really cost over 50,000 euros. But considering the government grant of 5,000 euros in Estonia, and your 50,000 euro car magically becomes a 45,000 euro car, and then it really starts competing with, check out that VW bus, classic bus. You saw it, right? Very cool, very cool. And there will be a fully electric VW bus, by the way. What I would spend my money on is a bigger battery. Do not get the 52 kilowatt hour battery, which will be coming out later in the year. It's just a tad too small. Now, on the inside, it's a very nice car to sit in. And if you look around the car, it's beautiful. Everything is aesthetic. Everything is where it should be. Big screen here, small screen here, and yeah, it all looks fine. Seating position, really cannot complain. These are the ergo comfort seats. They are very comfortable, and they also massage you. Is it a real massage? No, it's not. It's a half-ass version from, you know, the one you get from Mercedes, etc. Steering wheel, and this is where the problems start. First of all, size very good, responsive, leather is nicely trimmed, doesn't feel like a cheap car at all, and then you touch the buttons and oh no, it all goes wrong. The buttons on the steering wheel, they're not, you know, touch screen buttons, they're not regular buttons, they're not haptic buttons, they're just something in the middle and they just do not work. I mean, every press you get this feedback and it's laggy, and when you push the buttons the feedback is like okay, it's like you know, it's sad, it's not a happy feeling. I'm not sure if I make any sense, but the button press isn't, it shouldn't be like this. It's really a big mess for Volkswagen. What was wrong with buttons? It's not the first time I'm, you know, gonna say it, and I'm gonna say it more, because these brand new cars, well, they all have touchscreeny everything, and you really shouldn't have. Okay, moving on to the digital display above the steering wheel, which by the way moves with the steering wheel if you move it, you know, inside outside. It is a crispy looking screen. Yeah, really hard to fault, but it's very small. It doesn't really have all the information I'm used to. Is it a bad thing? No, not technically, but you really do need to get used to it. Okay, then moving on to the navigation screen, the infotainment screen. And well, the problems continue because it's laggy. It's not a very good screen, and it's the only thing it has to be, a screen. I mean, it's not a, you know, drastically bad thing. It still works as a screen, but it's just so laggy. And well, the dealer told me that, well, it's laggy like this. Well, if you start it up and, you know, in some ways it's not laggy. It shouldn't be laggy at all. It should work like an iPad, because we are in 2021 and it should be extremely nippy and fast, but it just isn't. It just isn't. And by the way, it's all very confusing as well. If I want the heated seats, it should be one press of a button, and it just isn't. It's two presses. One press to, you know, activate the screen, and the second press to really use the heated seats. So is the heated steering wheel. It should be one press on the steering wheel somewhere, like Porsche behind the steering wheel, or, you know, in front of the steering wheel, like BMW does it. The point is that it's not an easy thing to use. And by the way, so is the climate control temperature settings, because it's a slider or a tappy thing. Again, what was wrong with buttons, regular buttons? It's really hard to see or understand what I'm touching or hitting. Really a big problem with me. Okay, I think that's the, you know, biggest problems taken care of. Let's talk about some good things for a, you know, tiny bit. For Apple CarPlay, the screen is crisp, it's very usable, and well, that's what you're gonna use every day on a daily basis, so good on that. You do have separate buttons for your mode, assists, menu, and climate control. If you push this button here, you will get, you know, go into the climate control module. And if you push mode, you have eco, comfort, sport, and individual. All of them, you know, do basically what they say. In sport mode, the car wakes up a bit. In comfort, it's just a regular normal mode, and individual, you can change all of the settings. Let's put all of the bad things aside and talk about how it is to drive. And here is where it really shines. It's a very good car to drive. A guy who worked at Volkswagen, or still works, I'm not sure, said that this car should do everything. It should be as fast as a GTI, it should be as important as a Beetle, and well, as practical as a Tiguan. It's basically picking all of the best qualities from each of those models and using them. And now to dive deeper into those statements, drives like a GTI. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in this rear wheel drive version is 8.5 seconds. I will use my Draghi to time it here now. From 0 to 50 kilometers an hour, I'm gonna say and guess that it's faster than a GTI and faster than a lot of the cars due to the low down torque. Upwards from 50 or 60, it really dies down a bit and it's not that nippy anymore. The steering feel is a bit wallowy, but it's a crossover or a small SUV, so it's fine. And what surprises me is that it's actually quite precise. It doesn't really have a fast steering rack, but it is absolutely acceptable for a car like this. And it's oh so quiet. It's just so quiet. You can cruise along and you hear nothing apart from the wind noise and, you know, tire noise. And actually that's good as well, compared to, I don't know, let's say a Tiguan or a Passat. It's on par with those cars. And you might be asking yourself, well, why is he impressed with the fact that it's as quiet as a Passat? The thing is, in the Passat you hear the engine noise. In this car it's just road noise and wind noise. So everything else is so much more amplified. Really Volkswagen has done a good job here. Do you need a faster version of the ID4? I don't think so. If you want, you know, speed, outright speed, get a Tesla. I don't think the fastest version of the ID4 will be the one to buy, because it's gonna be like almost 70,000 euros, I think, or at the end of 60,000 euros. It's gonna be borderline on the more expensive car makers from Germany. It's just not gonna be worth it. This, I think, is the sweet spot, and that's why Volkswagen has introduced this version first. Makes sense, huh? And let's quickly talk about the electric engine itself and the range. And should you worry about, you know, buying a car like this? Should you actually want to buy a fully electric car at this day and age in 2021? And the answer is a clear yes. In 10 years' time, we will all be driving electric cars. It's just how it is. It's the future. I think electric cars have come to the point where they are actually usable, they are decently priced, and they offer you everything you want in a regular car, just with the comfort of electricity. If you have a possibility to, you know, add a home charger to your apartment building or your house, this is a no-brainer. That, you know, the mileage or the kilometers you can do on a fully charged vehicle is around 500 kilometers on a WLTP range. Really, you should forget that figure, because, well, it's just not possible, I think. But what is possible is 350, 400 kilometers. How often do you drive that much, really? I think that's more than enough for everybody to use on a daily basis. Fast chargers are popping up everywhere. Before we get on to the conclusion, let's take a quick look on the outside and sit in the back and see what it's like. So let's take a quick look on the outside before we go, you know, into the practical stuff. It's a sleek looking car, much like the Peugeot 3W8 or 5W8, I think. Again, really big wheels, too big for my liking. What does really look good to me are these different colored roof, you know, thingies. You can open it down there, and white ID4 badge. Well, boot is normal, not as big as a CR-V's or a RAV4's, but it's big enough for a electric vehicle. Electric boot gate, of course. Now, Volkswagen has again done something different with the handles. It's not a regular handle. And well, first things first, this is the key. It's like, you know, any other Volkswagen key, nothing really special here. But it doesn't have keyless entry or access in the back. It really should. It has it only in the front. And when I said it has an interesting handle, it doesn't pop out. You have to, it's sort of like a button inside the handle. You push it and it opens. And I'm sorry, again, it's a gimmick. What the hell was wrong with a regular handle? Oh, inside the ID4, well, it is roomy, and just look at that panoramic sunroof. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh dearie me, if you pay 60,000 euros for a car, the rear door handle should not sound like this. This is plastic, this is bad. Come on, Volkswagen. Nice pocket for your smartphone. Seat quality is good overall. I like the Alcantara and leather finish. In general, the grey leather would not be, you know, my choice. Nor would, you know, half brown, to be honest. But, well, it's not that bad, and, you know, colors are subjective anyway. I would get a white or a black interior if I had the choice. Now, you have two USB Type-Cs in the front and in the back, so you can charge up your phones. Handrest. I'm really being too critical about this car, but come on, if you put it in the middle, you're gonna hurt your elbow. No, somebody hasn't really thought this car through. By the way, I like the fact that they have made a play and pause button with the brake and the accelerator. A really nice gimmick there. Okie dokie, let's go sit in the front. As I mentioned, these are the ergonomic seats, so really comfortable. You don't have to push actually any start button. You can just use your foot on the brake and select drive. You can either have D as in drive or B as in braking drive. What it does, it's, you know, regen braking. If you want your ID4 to drive like a regular car, just use D. The toggle for the gear selector is weird as well. Just twist it and it goes into reverse. Away from you, it goes into drive. By the way, this is the reversing camera, 360. Very useful. I like this a lot. Good thing, good thing. Yeah, and that's how you basically drive the car. There's nothing really hard about it. On the left side here, you have these buttons for your heated windshield and your light options. So some buttons here, but in general, it's fairly a buttonless experience. And let me just show you, this is how non-responsive the screen is. It just takes an age. What are you doing? Go there. No. Go there. Aha. It just takes an age to load up everything, and it shouldn't be. See? It's just, if it's, you know, inside a menu, it's nippy, it's fast. But if you give it a task like, I want a telephone. No, wait, I want the phone. It's just so laggy. Center console, pretty plasticky, to be honest, but very nice copy spaces here and there. You can close it up, open it up. Phone charger is down here, so easily reachable. So to quickly sum up the ID4, it's an exceptionally good car to drive. Shame, really shame about the technological problems, but Volkswagen will update these cars continuously, so it will get better in time. I'm not going to talk about the conspiracy theories regarding hacking your car, because, well, technically it is possible. Volkswagen says it's not possible, you cannot hack a Volkswagen, but let's be honest, if there is a possibility, somebody will find a way to hack your ID4 and make it go faster, or break it for you, or, well, run away from you, basically. So let's just hope that's not gonna happen, but it's a good thing that Volkswagen adds over-the-air updates, because, well, this screen is just not acceptable in 2021. Yeah, I like the ID4, I like the electric vehicle side of it, but I do not like the tech, and I think that's it. Thank you for watching. This was my short review of the Volkswagen ID4. Yeah, bye bye.